Hello, Kirby again, as we launch into the 9th episode of Zoo Crew Revue, where we will be reviewing the 8th issue of Captain Carrot and his amazing zoo crew, and pair it with the classic Looney Tunes short, What's Brewin, Bruin? Let's get started with the cover, penciled and inked by Scott Shaw. Funny animals aren't just for breakfast anymore. Face it, Zoo Crew, you're either too young or too old to fight. The Timekeepr! As the Timekeepr stands triumphant against a geriatric Captain Carrot and infant zoo crew, against a black and white checkerboard landscape with Salvador Dali melting clocks, as floating heads of the zoo crew look on in terror on the side. Timekeepr to me looks like a great Build-A-Bear creation with wrist, ankle, and belly watches, a sundial headdress, an hourglass necklace just like Our Man, and a minute hand staff. My favorite bits of the cover is the infant zoo crew where Yankee Poodle is stealing Pig Iron's lollipop and Rubber Duck and Fastback are just hatching out of eggs. For our pertinent data for this issue, we have a cover date of October 1982, an on-sale date of July 22nd, 1982. Our main story is plotted by Roy Thomas, written and penciled by Scott Shaw, inked by Al Gordon, lettered by Kerry Spiegel, colored by Thomas J. Zucco, and edited by Dick Giordano. And I gotta say, I am real glad to have our regular art team back for the main story after last issue. We open with a splash page giving the title for this story, Killing Time, as Captain Carrot and Alley Catabra are flying in front of the Follywood sign. The rest of the zoo crew are giving their new vehicle a test flight. Fastback exclaims, "Boy howdy, this little skybug is pert near as speedy as I am," while Yankee Poodle flirts. "Sure you won't hop aboard, Captain. I'd be happy to make some room here for you." Thanks anyway, YP, but I think I'd be better off out here, just to keep an ultra-sharp eye on the proceedings. After all, it's not every day we get to test drive our brand new Zoo Cruiser. Gotta say, Zoo Cruiser is such a simple but perfect name. And really, this series desperately needed to have toys attached to it, and this issue would have been a great showcase for the Zoo Cruiser and their HQ, which we will get to shortly. And McFarlane Toys, come on, give me the rest of the Zoo Crew here. I mean, I've already got the classic Captain Carrot one. In the Zoo Cruiser, Pig Iron needs to be reminded what the thing is called and where they got it from, to which Yankee Poodle chimes in. "And why Zoo Cruiser anyway? I think Poodlemobile sounds much cuter." While the piloting Rubber Duck exposits, geez, Rover, none other than old Uncle Salmon picked up the tab on it for this baby. In other words, it's a gift from the U.S. government, no less. You know, the kind of thank you for all the times we've pulled the president's tail feathers out of the fire. Referencing issues 3 and 6 of this series specifically, as Captain Carrot shouts to them, "Okay, gang, let's take the Zoo Cruiser through all of her conversions and see how she handles." "She? Who, boy?" Thinks Alley Catabra to herself. The Zoo Cruiser then dives into the ocean, becoming a submarine, then a hydrofoil as it surfaces, before finally getting out the ATV tractor treads as it makes its way up Santa Monotone State Beach. Stopping the Zoo Cruiser on the beach, Alley Catabra says, "Rubber Duck, could you please keep your voice down? You'll draw undue attention to us." As a crowd gathers and a bulky lifeguard yells at the zoo crew, "All right, everybody, stand back! Stand back! I'll handle these troublemakers." When I saw the lifeguard, the first thing I thought of was the Simpsons joke where the kids are being focus grouped Itchy and Scratchy cartoons, and the line, "One kid seems to love the Speedo Man." One of the beachgoers has a great line of, "Hey, maybe Orson Welles staging another Martian invasion hoax." While Captain Carrot tries to reason with the lifeguard, we are given a crowd shot with various reactions. And of note, in the crowd shot is a cameo by two of DC's funny animal characters, the Raccoon Kids, Rudy and Rolo, who were created by Otto Fuhrer and first appeared in Animal Antics #1 from April 1946. To get out of the scene, Rubber Duck activates the Zoo Cruiser's helicopter mode, which look like rabbit ears, and fly up and out as the lifeguard bellows at them, "Wait, you can't just leave! Public code number 1 02163B clearly says it. As the team is back in the skies, Captain Carrot asks Timekeepr what she thinks of the Zoo Cruiser, and her reply is basically that it's great that she doesn't have to be the team's lockjaw anymore, which she feels she's been reduced to, and is more than happy for the opportunity to try and be more creative with her magic. Leaping ahead to talk with the Zoo crew in the ship, Captain Carrot says, "Great job, crew, but if you're impressed with the Zoo Cruiser, well, you see what else the government has presented us with. A tax audit? Hey, whatever it is, it can't be much better than this. I haven't had this kind of fun since flying in my days as a Hollywood stunt fowl." Judging by your flying, bird darling, I would say it was your brain that was stunted. Which leads into Pig Iron wanting to turn flying, where he, of course, comically breaks the steering wheel immediately, sending the Zoo Cruiser into a wild tailspin. "Oh, come on, let me have it. I'll give it right back." "You metallic moron, that's the steering mechanism." "I know it. How else am I supposed to steer?" "Tumbling turnips, what happened? Is Rubber Duck still trying to show off his stunt flying?"
Cheap government equipment."
Offhand, I'd say they're running into a little mechanical difficulty. "That's not all they're running into. Look!" As the next page reveals that the Zoo Cruiser is heading right towards their brand new HQ, the Z Building. So the Z Building is an obvious gag on the Teen Titans T-Tower. It was parodies like this that I think was sorely missing from their house hunting back in issue 4. Luckily, Timekeepr is able to showcase some of her enhanced magic abilities by creating a semi-solid ramp of pure magic to take the Zoo Cruiser away from the building, but unfortunately it sends them right into orbit. And as Captain Carrot makes a leap to try and stop the Zoo Cruiser, Shaw provides some nice detail of the pandemonium inside, with Pig Iron giving a great sheepish remark of,
Okay, Ducko, here's the steering wheel back. You fly this crate."
We are then treated to a great little action piece on the next page as Captain Carrot is leaping with all of his might to trying to grab onto the Zoo Cruiser's rudder and steer it back to Earth C. "I hate to tell you this, Bultbrain, but it's a tad too late for me for anyone to fly this Berserko bus. Cap, I'm trying to give you a hand, but this turbulence is making me shakier than an agent's promise. Now if I can only bend this rudder, nearly passing out. I did it! We made a U-turn. Uh-oh, now comes the little matter of brakes. Yo! Rubber Duck, form a trampoline, or Yankee Poodle, use your stairs to repel the ground, or maybe Pig Iron can jump overboard as a ballast. Oh, never mind." As Timekeepr is able to save the Zoo Cruiser by making a giant hand like a Green Lantern. "Good catch, Abra. Let me give you a big hand, too." Easy on the puns, Mr. Rentals. In this series? Really? We are then given a quick tour of the Z Building, and the only thing missing from this comic is a classic schematic of the whole thing, but this is still a really good page, and it's going to be one of the images that I share when the episode gets posted. So the captain leads the team around the building to their amazement. First we have the garage and workshop, not to mention our new government-issued carrot-mobile, of course shaped like a giant carrot. Cool, neat, wonderful. Then we have our gym and training room, specially built to accommodate our superpowers. Next, our individual living quarters, such as Yankee Poodle's here. Fabulous, right nice. This is our communication center, complete with state-of-the-art computer equipment and a fully equipped artist studio for me, for Roger Rabbit. Same thing, Cap. Guess it doesn't hurt to have a little clout as a leader, huh? Yeah! So definitely a little annoyed at Captain Carrot for that last bit, but hey, if that's one room they have to sacrifice, I call that a win-win. Now it's time for an HQ warming party. While Pig Iron has the right idea of beer and pretzels, Yankee Poodle is thinking something a little more highbrow, but Captain Carrot interjects. Whoa, Rover, not all of us can afford to live like Hollywood stars. Listen, why don't we just send out for pizza instead? How's that sound to you, Abra? You're the leader, Captain. I like mine with anchovies.
Hey, Puccini's Pizza, I want to order 6 pizzas. Yep, wait a sec. Hey, what do you guys want?
Then we are given a flash of light, which startles the Zoo Crew, and as we will come to find out later in this issue, it's a lot like that Futurama episode with the Harlem Globetrotters and the time skips. So, as Fastback is watching the monitor board for all of the commercials to end, so that you can watch the new Farrah Fawcett special, Pig Iron just sits down and waits for the pizzas, comically soon getting spider webs growing all over him.
Yeah, and when's our expletive pizza's gonna get here? I'm so hungry I could eat a McDonald's. And not just one of them burgers. I mean their whole drive-in. Well, when he gets here, that pizza delivery boy's not gonna get a tip, that's for sure.
And my show never did come on. Still, none but commercials on all the channels, too. Maybe that's Fred Silverfox's idea of a new direction in television programming. I doubt it, Cap. He already tried that last season, remember? Hey kids, you like this Fred Silver reference? This is one of those references that I am just barely aware of, let alone an even younger reader, but hey, what are you even gonna do? Yankee Poodle thinks that this is her time to shine. I think I'll give that caterer a call after all. We'll need caviar, watercress sandwiches, an assortment of sushi, and of course a case of sparkling terrier water. But Rubber Duck stops her. Rover, mellow out. The pizzas will get here. Eventually, as Fastback chimes in. Don't worry. I used to be a pizza delivery boy, and I was never on time neither. Got fired for it, though. Alley Catabra thinks to herself that her mystic sixth sense picked up on a disturbance in the fabric of reality and offers to zap the Zoo Crew to the pizza joint to see if anyone else has been affected. Which I think is a great heroic character moment and would not be out of place in a JLA or Avengers book. So Alley Catabra then teleports the crew to the top of a building on the corner of Woolshire and Rodento Drive, right by the pizzeria. Howdy, pal. Since our phoned-in order never arrived, we'd like to pick up some pizzas. We wanna... Hey, Captain Carrot, I'm sorry, signore, but the oven, she's not working so hot. The pizzas, they want to finish baking. In fact, none of the food will finish cooking. I even tried boiling a 3-minute egg. It's been 3 hours, and it's still not cooked. Mamma mia! And to be clear, folks, that was not an Italian accent. That was a Super Mario Brothers accent. Please do not send the anti-Italian defamation leak after me. So between that information and the clocks all having stopped throughout the city, Alley Catabra is now positive that something is wrong on a much grander scale. Zapping back to HQ, the crew give Pig Iron the only thing the pizzeria can make, an antipasto salad, which he then eats, bowl and all. And Captain Carrot backs up Alley Catabra's observations and leads the team to yet another new vehicle, the Star Hopper, a spaceship shaped like another giant carrot. I'm really not sure why they think they need to go to space for this time emergency. And this page does have some really confusing errors to guide the reader, which I think got swapped because as directed, it just makes no sense. And I'm really not sure who's to blame there, Shaw, Thomas, or even Giordano. Now in space, Yankee Poodle bemoans at yet another carrot design, which in this case I kind of have to give her. The Carrot Mobile could have been based on one of the other members, to the captain's annoyance, and Alley Catabra explains that the blank out time situation has happened around the Earth, and even rereading, I still do not understand why they need to go to space. We maybe could have skipped a backup feature in this issue to give the main story a little more exposition room to breathe, and unfortunately I think I have to knock Shaw's writing for this. As the Zoo Crew are stumped in the ship, Yankee Poodle then alerts them that there is a black hole ahead. While Pig Iron says that they should go exploring, Captain Carrot isn't so sure. But unfortunately, the gravity well of a black hole isn't going to give them an option. Where the narration melodramatically states, "Suddenly, the Starhopper is pulled into the gaping maw of the black hole, never to be seen again." And I actually don't remember what happens to the Starhopper itself after this issue, so that'll be interesting to read going forward. So on page 12, we finally arrive to the location as shown on the cover, and with some selected words of shock as the Zoo Crew takes in their surroundings. "It's all so strange, so alien, it's almost as weird as Follywood." "I'd say you're stretching things a bit, Rubber Duck. Take a look at those melting watches. It's like something out of a painting by Salvador Dali." Rubber Duck stretches up to get a better vantage point, while Fastback offers, "You want me to take a super speedy look-see around here, parts, Cap? Maybe I can rouse some of the locals. Thanks anyway, Fastback, but I don't think it..." "Excuse me, got a second?" "What?" "I'll only take a minute of your time, for I am the Timekeepr." As we are introduced to our villain for the next 5 pages, and next issue granted, Captain Carrot asks, "Well, maybe you can tell us. Where in the name of Rod Starling are we anyway? In the Skylight Zone?" The Timekeepr says that they are in the 4th dimension of time, and Timekeepr actually quickly catches his eye. The Timekeepr then leads them to his pride and joy, the Clock Garden. "Excuse me, Timekeepr, but we're not here for sightseeing. You see, we've been searching for a chunk of misplaced time, and we were sucked into this black hole. I'll go no further, Captain. I shall explain. All in good time, of course." "Take a gander at these huge hourglasses, gang. I'd swear there's a tiny planet Earth trapped in each one of them. Yeah, and if you ask me, old Fuzzy Wuzzy's had his mainspring wound a little too tight." "Hush, you two. So, y'all do know something about our predicament, huh?" As the Timekeepr begins to exposit, "Indeed I do, Fastback. You see, as master and sole inhabitant of this temporal land, I'm left with much space-time on my paws. Previously I'd spent most of that time in hibernation, taking eon-long naps. Recently, however, I was rudely awakened by a sudden disturbance in the time stream. It's 'cause I found was a pair of oddly attired canines sailing back through time from your era. Problem was, I soon found that once awakened, I would not return to my slumber. The incident which those two time travelers had given me was a case of cosmic insomnia. Unable to sleep, I developed a unique hobby to while away the millennia, collecting time itself." In his exposition, we are given a Bowser cameo from last issue, which is very nice and a good way to tie the two otherwise unrelated issues together. The Timekeepr admits that he did in fact cause the time paradox, to which Captain Carrot and Timekeepr try to warn him of the danger he's causing to the Earth. Timekeepr scoffs, "Preposterous! I've only done what any avid collector would do. And besides, it's just a few seconds of your time. Why, I'm sure you'll hardly miss them."
I knew it. We couldn't trust this furry fruitcake.
"Golly, we got us a regular fan here to care, folks." Captain Carrot steps up, saying, "Now look here, Timekeepr. We don't begrudge your hobby. Heck, I've got one of the best comic book collections around. But if you won't be reasonable and cooperate, well, I guess we'll just have to force you to hand over our time." But the Timekeepr does not take idly to threats and zaps the captain with his manhand staff. At first it appears that it has no effect, but he quickly gets aged to an old rabbit. "Creeping cauliflowers, what's happening to me? I've become super senile." The Timekeepr merely taunts the aged captain as he attempts to fight, saying, "That you are, my now ancient antagonist. When I say that I am complete master of time, I meant it." "Is that so? young, old, I'm betting I can still punch you right into the middle of the 12th dimension. Ooh, my arthritis. Face it, Captain, by now it should be obvious. The old gray hair just ain't what it used to be. Quickly, the rest of the zoo crew leap into action to help their leader, but the Timekeepr is able to evade all of their attacks by merely shifting himself a few seconds out of sync, which I think is a really cool power and one that reminds me a lot of Hit from Dragon Ball Super. The Timekeepr quickly gets bored of this game of tag and de-ages the rest of the zoo crew into infants. Zoo crew babies, they'll make your dreams come true. I really like that Fastback and Rubber Duck are in eggs colored like their costumes, though they will quickly hatch. All the Zoo Crew babies do talk like they are Sugar and Spike, and I've got to give it to the Timekeepr. Some of the names he comes up with are pretty clever as he taunts Captain Carrot. Oh, the innocence of youth. Touching, wouldn't you say, my feeble foe? You all make quite a team now. Piglet Iron, Yankee Poodle Pup, Alley Kitabra, Rubber Duckling, and Hatchback. Allied with you, their liver-spotted leader. Or is that babysitter? Ah, I can see it now. Captain Codger and his amazing nursery school. Why, what was your name again, you wicked whippersnapper? Yankee Poodle Pup, stop. Quit picking on your poor little Piglet Iron right now. Go, darn it. Stop shooting your stars at him. Soon tired of all the noise, the Timekeepr ages everyone back to where they should be. So, even though it was just for the cover, this was a really cute scene. But the Timekeepr cannot keep the zoo crew around as adults either, and soon saps all but Ali Katabra, whom he wants to keep as a bride, despite her protests to different eras of time. Captain Carrot and Pig Iron to ancient Egypt, Rubber Duck and Yankee Poodle to Renaissance parrots, and Fastback to the Second Weird War. See our Oklahoma Bones appearances from prior issues for more details. And our cliffhanger promises appearances in the next issue with former DC Funny Animals characters such as Emperor Nero Fox, the Three Musketeers, and the terrific Whatsit. So, with the main story wrapped, one thing I really do appreciate was how much it gave Ali Katabra to do and be an active member, whereas previously she had been kind of pushed to the background. And like I said earlier, there are some areas where I think the main story could have been expanded upon and given some more room to breathe, because there was just some confusing bits and stuff that just didn't make sense. However, a lot of the jokes in the story do work, so I will absolutely give it that. Shaw's art is outstanding as always, and makes me wish even more now that we have the Z building and the Zoo Cruiser that Warner Brothers would adapt this into a cartoon. And hey, James Gunn, if you're listening, just throwing that out there. And hey, I don't even need to star, just let me do a cameo. So our backup feature, Squawk Loudly and Carry a Big Grudge, is written and inked by Scott Shaw, penciled by Mike Sikowski again, and additional links by Al Gordon, colored by Carrie Spiegel, colored by Thomas J. Zucco, and edited by Dick Giordano. Right off the bat, I am 99.9% sure that Shaw only inks Yankee Poodle and Rubber Duck in this backup to keep them on model, because once again, everything that isn't a main zoo crewer, Sikowski does not do a good job of, and there is only so much damage control that Al Gordon can do. I am glad that this is not another Captain Carrot solo story again, even if it is with Yankee Poodle, who is definitely my least favorite character, so I do give them props for changing it up at this point. Our backup story begins with Bird Rentals and Rova Barca at an awards ceremony, with the latter having caught a cold, thinking to herself it's because of her Yankee Poodle costume. And for achievements in the field of gossip mongering, investigative reporting, and on behalf of the Media Muckrakers Association, I'm proud to present this Platinum Penguin Award to... Better dry up those sniffles, Rova. Walrus Concrete's about to announce, Rubber Duck whispers to his sneezing compatriot. And after sneezing her way through her acceptance speech, Rover is confronted by a rival. Catch your death of cold, dearie? Polly Wondercracker, who let you out of your cage? Now, dearie, is there any way to speak to a fellow journalist? So no guesses on the type of animal Polly Wondercracker is supposed to be. After getting nose to beak with Rova, which isn't a good idea with someone who's sick, Polly storms off. As she is driving furiously down Mulholland Drive, and last episode, I straight up did not remember that this was the exact same pun that they went for too, so hey, good that we're on the same wavelength there. Polly's thinking to herself that it's unfair that Rova is able to get exclusives with Yankee Poodle, and she swerves out of the way of an oncoming truck and right into one of her radio station's broadcasting towers. Coming out of the wreckage in classic supervillain style, our narrator speaks. Seared by her exploding gas tank, shocked by 50,000 watts of electricity, and buried by flaming debris, Polly Wondercracker, by all reason, should resemble a casket full of Colonel Slaughter's Kentucky Fried Chiclets. But who said Polly was reasonable? Squawk! Polly wants revenge! Squawk! We cut to a few days later, where Rova is having an interview with actor Warren Beatty, and the absolute biggest mark against this story is that Sikowski makes zero effort to have this guy look like an animal caricature of Warren Beatty. And after some jokes about the movie Reds and his feud with Woodsy Owlin over Diane Parakeeton, because what kid in 1982 wouldn't love these jokes? The two are attacked by Polly Wondercracker and her new persona of the Squawker. And the Squawker quickly kidnaps Batty, and Rova thinks to herself that if she can't have the interview, then Yankee Poodle will have to get it. Even if it is for some partially selfish reasons, I do like that Yankee Poodle is leaping into action to save someone. She's not a character without redeeming qualities, it is just that hers are a little harder to find. Soaring above Los Antelopes using half of her animal magnetism powers, Yankee Poodle is able to pick up on the Squawker's trail using the other half of her powers, which is a really clever idea. Meanwhile, the Squawker is interviewing Warren Beatty from a secret location that is being broadcast throughout all manner of devices. Stereos, TVs, and even toasters. And once again, on this page, I have to question what some of these animals are even supposed to be, because Sikowski just makes them look like really bad knockoff Muppets. Now, let's throw the bull by the horns, Warren! Squawk! What's the story on you and Diane Parakeeton anyway, huh? I mean, how's that little run Woodsy Owlin ever gonna get along without her? What? Look, Batty, huh? Spill your guts. Now that I've got the biggest audience of my career, I'm not about to let a flying rat like you weasel out of your final interview. What? Final interview? Luckily, Yankee Poodle crashes this interview and gets into a fight with the Squawker, who unleashes a black canary-like screech to knock Yankee Poodle back into a wall. And in a nice lettering touch, Yankee Poodle's thought balloons are written upside down as she is thrown head over paws backwards. The Squawker taunts her, Squawk! Seeing stars, dearie? And in another cool moment, Yankee Poodle unleashes a double dose for powers, saying, Sorry, Squawker, but right now all I'm seeing is red. The two's powers are in a struggle against one another like it's Dragon Ball Z until they are finally both flown back, as the narrator explains. The costume critters are caught in a sudden feedback blast. Though we can't visually depict it here, the explosion has created an incredibly high-pitched wail that, while undetectable to our inferior human ears, is sheer agony to Yankee Poodle's sensitive canine hearing. Though both are stunned, Yankee Poodle is far more vulnerable to the expected audio assault. As Warren Beatty thinks, I haven't seen special effects like these since George Lucas' last movie. Yankee Poodle awakens dazed as she finds herself trapped in a room by the Squawker. As you can see, you're in an extra reinforced, escape-proof, soundproof echo chamber. Hope you enjoy this little tape loop I'm playing through your speakers in there. And as the terror tape drones on in the Squawker's less than dulcet tones,
Hello, I'm not able to answer your phone right now, but if you leave your name and number, hello, I'm not able.
Yeah, that would drive anyone insane. And the squawker is about to walk away, assuming that her plan worked, before Warren Batty asks if she is sure. Walking back into the echo chamber, the squawker finds a red and white striped cocoon, which he thinks Yankee Poodle must be hiding in. And this is a super clever use of Yankee Poodle's powers. So as the villain unwraps the cocoon, it gives Yankee Poodle an easy one blast to knock her back. Unfortunately for the squawker, she is done in by the cold she caught from Rova Barkett. And Yankee Poodle ends his story having saved the day, saying, "What's that? You can barely talk? Don't worry, darling. You just need to take aspirin, drink lots of fluids, and get plenty of rest. I'd say in your case, 5 to 10 years of rest should do the trick. Come along, Mr. Batty. You still owe that darling Miss Rover an interview. And now you've really got a story to tell." This backup story is really frustrating because it is easily the most I have liked Yankee Poodle. It's her at her most heroic and some real clever uses of her powers, but Sikowski's art is just really lets it down. It feels rough and unfinished. The squawker doesn't have a memorable design, and Warren Batty looks nothing like he should to really sell the joke. And he does nothing but whine throughout the whole story. On the whole, this issue is fine. It's not astounding, but it's not the worst I've read so far either. And while I do wish that maybe we could have had more of a longer main story to flesh things out, what we got wasn't bad, and the backup just needed a different penciler. Maybe Stan Sakai, but he might have already been working on Usagi Yojimbo by this point. So, overall, like an alright issue of Captain Carrot and his amazing Zoo Crew. And with that, let's get on to our Looney Tunes pairing. What's Bruin? Bruin was originally released on February 28th, 1948. Normally, I would give all of the pertinent data here, but unfortunately, the original title credits have been lost to the sands of time, and all I am sure of is that it was directed by Chuck Jones and starring Billy Bletcher as Papa Bear, Sam Freeberg as Junior Bear, and Mel Blanc as Papa Bear's yells and Mama Bear for her whole 3 words of dialogue. So this has got to be one of the least uses of Mel Blanc at this time. And given the Salvador Dali imagery, I rewatched Doe for the Dodo, which is where I first encountered that, but I didn't get enough laughs out of it. And outside of the dodo, I did not find it particularly memorable. And given the Timekeepr was a hibernating bear, I quickly tracked down this short afterwards. The Looney Tunes 3 bears are made up of Joyful Idiot, Giant Junior Bear, long-suffering Mama Bear, and the short-tempered and abusive Papa Bear, who might be the most irredeemable Looney Tunes main character because his violence towards his family often just skips right past slapstick and just comes across as physical abuse. Still, I do think that they are memorable enough dynamic to warrant me talking about them as I try to make sure I check off as many boxes as I can before this series is over. And it is nice to kind of take a slight break from all of the usual mainstays. The short opens with Mama and Papa playing gin rummy while Junior reads a comic book in between them. Mama Bear is just stone-facing Papa as she keeps winning and crushing defeat after crushing defeat. Papa keeps thinking of what card to play next, glancing at Mama and then Junior for any hint. Even when Junior blatantly steals a glance at Mama's hand and nods to Papa as he lays a card down, Mama Bear just wins again. I have no idea how to play Gin Rummy, so I am just assuming this is entirely accurate. Furious, Papa Bear says that it's time for them to start hibernating as it's already half past November. Junior keeps rocking in his comically small cradle, keeping Papa awake, before he eventually crushes it and begins to cry. And in Papa's only decent moment, he does take Junior into his own bed. However, Junior is a restless sleeper and keeps rolling on top of Papa, flattening him. And not even when Papa brings out a needle to jab Junior awake does it stop him in the least. Next, Papa is kept awake by a leaky caved-in roof. And even after he moves the bed entirely, the rain just finds its way down a pipe, then a cuckoo clock, over a shelf, along a saber, through a rifle and then a hunting horn, and finally down a smoking pipe. Then he takes the bed back to where it was and tells Junior to stick his finger in the hole to plug it, which of course doesn't work, and Papa Bear just punches Junior right in the face for his troubles before trying to plug up the hole with some long johns, which just soak it up before unleashing a waterfowl down on Papa, who tries to block it with a skeleton of an umbrella. Next comes the war of an open window. As the winter air comes howling in, Papa slams it shut. Mama opens it back up, Papa closes it again, and Mama opens up the top half, and he closes it again. Then he just nails down the whole thing, and Mama just effortlessly opens up the window again. Finally, Papa bricks over the whole window, and Mama just opens up the bricks like it's a window yet again. While sleeping, a stuffed moose head falls down onto Papa's head, freaking Junior out, who starts chasing him around with a mallet, which awakes Mama, and she starts firing a gun at the moose, eventually chasing him through a doorway where Junior just wallops him good with the mallet. And there is some really good angry eye work from Papa here as he's dazed from the hit. And as soon as Junior realizes what he's done, he grabs a brush for Papa to spank him with, but Papa just grabs the mallet and bashes Junior over the head. Another blast from the gun as Mama Bear gives him a sheepish grin, realizing that it's been Papa all along. Papa has had enough and just ties everyone and everything down so he can finally get some sleep, including his alarm clock, just in time for spring to break. The sun rises, snow melts, birds chirp, flowers bloom, and Papa just opens up a window with despair in his eyes and yells, "Quiet!" in what is 100% a classic Mel Blanc yell. The flowers debloom, the birds stop chirping, the snow reverses melting, and the sun just goes back down, ending our short. So, not a favorite short, but one I am glad I talked about. I can totally get if someone finds this short off-putting, because I counted a total of 11 times Papa Bear just straight up punches or smacks Junior right in the face. And there are some other shorts with the three bears where Papa does get some more comeuppance. But as a borderline insomniac, barring the abuse he inflicts, I kind of get where Papa is coming from. Some nights I just wish I lived in a noiseless bubble. Still, this short does have some really good jokes, and the timing and animation is very good throughout. So I have nothing left to say, but that's all, folks!